Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Corps studio. Welcome to the show. So 2024 is wrapping up, and to my knowledge, we are wrapped when it comes to brand new commanders that we're going to be getting this year, but please let me know if there is some kind of a product coming up in the near future where it's like, oh wait, Mitch, you forgot about this 18th product this year that is going to have 24 new commanders. Let me know in the comments below on that. That being said, let's take a look at the year in review by comparing it to previous years to see where we're at with, well, one of the big changes in Magic. Let's jump into it. Now let's move back a couple of years back to the year of Commander with 2020. And just see how many commanders we got in that year. Again, not reprints, not like, oh yeah, we got Zatalpa again. No, really. Okay, not reprints, new commanders. That year, 186. And I promise I've got this in an easy to digest way here in a little bit. I just want to kind of show off some of the commanders here first, just to put you in the mindset of what came out that year. That was the year of Vito and Kodama and Kogla, apparently. I mean, that one's more of like a 99 card. That being said, anyways, moving on. We've got the 2021 year where we had 193 commanders, including some big ones like, well, Ragavan, Toski, Adelan, and Bergi. Moving on to 2022, we jump all the way up to 362 commanders, including a heavy hitter like Shieldred, Braids, which is in a good amount of decks out there apparently, and Lord of the Third Path. Yeah, moving on. We jump up even further to 398 commanders that year, and a big reason for that, we'll jump into that here in a little bit. That being said, Mondrak, Atali, Elish Norn, a lot of heavy hitters there too. And then finally, this year, and looking back, it's like, oh yeah, 6 was part of this year. So was Delany, so was Bristly Bale. Yeah, 2024, we had 320 commanders, so dropping down a little bit. Now, what's the point of all this and where are we heading with everything? Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to dig into and show, because a little while ago, Mark Rosewater on Blogatog was asked this question, and I will highlight Mark's part because sometimes it's a bit hard to read who says who says what. Anyways, how likely or impossible is a set with very few, like fewer than 10 legendary creatures? I love Commander learning the lore of Magic creatures, especially when they get multiple printings so we can see their characterization evolve through mechanics, but I feel like older Magic had more of a giant armies of monsters clashing flavor that it doesn't quite have now. And then this Mark's response is, we've been talking about lowering the average legendary creatures in Magic IP sets. Universes Beyond, due to its nature, will still want a lot of legendary creatures, as the named characters of an IP are a big draw. Okay, so again, Mark Rosewater, the head designer at Wizards, giving some insights as to what's going to be going on in the future. This was from 2023. We did see that in 2024 drop a little bit, and I've got some handy-dandy slides to show off. Here we go. First up, commanders by year. Again, I already went through the numbers, but it kind of just also showed off, what commanders were exactly in there. But you saw the year of Commander. Yeah, 186 actual commanders. New, non-reprinted commanders, I should say. Again, going up. 2023, 398 being, I believe, the record for brand new commanders in a year. Nearly 400 brand new commanders in a year. This year, dropping down slightly. And yeah, we can go further and dig into the most recent years. And again, the giant explosion of commanders we've gotten so far. Again, Commander is the biggest format in Magic. It is focused on, for better or worse, by Wizards. And yeah, because of that, we are getting more legendary creatures. That being said, again, Mark did say in Magic IP sets they're going to be lowering that, which I personally am a fan of. I remember back in the day when, yeah, we had, certain sets where you just get like 10 legendary creatures. Like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's like very memorable. And then like now it's like, oh my gosh, wait, I can't remember them all. And oh, that was a commander from this year. That was a commander. Okay, that. Okay, yeah, okay, that's a commander. And then just some throwaway ones here and there too. That being said, the last 3 years can kind of give us a potential look into where we are and where we might be going with the trends. So, again, when it comes to, skip one too far, UB sets by year, UB percentage by year, Universes Beyond is what I mean by that. Back in the last 3 years, in 2022, 10% of the commanders were from Universes Beyond. So, again, when Mark said in 2023 that the Universes Beyond percentage might be a bit higher, Wasn't joking. Lord of the Rings, 53%. I mean, not just Lord of the Rings, but Lord of the Rings was the main factor for that. 53% of the commanders in 2023 were from Universes Beyond, which I definitely did not realize at the time until I actually broke all of this down. Last year, that percentage went down a little bit, but so the number of commanders themselves to 31%. Universes Beyond commanders. Again, the blue bar, you can see like the total bar that you can see is all of the actual commanders from these years. The purple is the percentage breakdown of Universes Beyond commanders. So, again, we saw 10%, 53%, 31%. Now, what does 2025 hold for us? Well, I think a look into the past can actually help with this one to see where we might be going next year when it comes to the number of commanders and the percentage of commanders from Universes Beyond. And I just want to do a quick disclaimer right here. It is 100% fine, obviously, if you are a fan of Universes Beyond and you're really excited about next year. It is also fine if you are not a fan of those things, or if you think that there should be less commanders, if there's too many commanders, if we're getting flooded with commanders. Just interesting to kind of break things down and see kind of where we're at right now, where we might be going. And again, a look back to Lord of the Rings, I think, is going to be a big factor for kind of how things are going to be going next year. Now, when it comes to the Lord of the Rings set, the LTR, as well as the commanders, or the commander precons and that kind of stuff, LTC, we can see a breakdown of 289 cards in the actual set itself. 85 of those were legendary creatures. Yeah, they went really hard into having a lot of legendary creatures. And then comes the commander product themselves, 104 new cards, not reprints. And 40 of those, a giant percentage of that, were commanders for a total of 125 commanders from Lord of the Rings itself. So, yeah, there's a big reason why, 125 commanders out of however many it was, 389 or 398, whatever it was in the entire year, was just from Lord of the Rings. Next year, we are moving into new territory where, again, Lord of the Rings, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong in this, was not legal in standard, but it was legal into modern, and it was still a tentpole set of last year. Whereas this year, yeah, we had Fallout, we had Assassin's Creed, we had a secret lair drop of, the Marvel ones or whatnot, but we did not have like a tentpole set necessarily. Again, one that's not going into a format like standard or, I guess modern, yes, but not a giant one like Lord of the Rings, essentially. Where now next year, we are getting, well, 3 massive sets that are all Universes Beyond. Again, Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man, as well as an unannounced one that, again, is confirmed to be Universes Beyond. So if Mark Rosewater is, kind of giving us a hint as to how things are going to be going in the future, yeah, we're going to be getting less, commanders when it comes to the actual standard sets, not standard sets, when it comes to the actual Magic IP sets. But when it comes to the Universes Beyond sets, that percentage could be around what we saw in Lord of the Rings, which is a pretty high percentage of those products being dedicated to the legendary creatures. And again, it's like, oh, well, there's only so many characters in those. There's a ton, obviously. Final Fantasy has so many games, right? 16 games or whatnot. But yeah, there are so many characters in those. In Marvel, Spider-Man, there's so many characters too. But also, we got 6 Gandalfs, right? We got 6 Gandalfs because that was needed, right, Wizards? So, yeah, you can definitely get a lot of different iterations of the exact same character, essentially, and by doing that, you are upping that percentage of, out of the entire set, how many cards are going to be legendary creatures. Again, with Mark Rosewater saying basically that, again, we're cutting down legendary creatures. We hear you, but we're only doing that for Magic sets necessarily, but we're not necessarily doing that for Universes Beyond sets, so it's going to be interesting to see, again, because you can only... Another factor of it too, though, is when it comes to, balancing a format like standard, you can only have so many legends in it as well, because, yeah, the legendary rule is definitely a thing in formats outside of Commander. It's a rule in Commander too, but it really doesn't affect you all that much because, yeah, you're playing with singles in format. In standard, you have 4 of a legendary creature. That's obviously a little bit of a downside because, yeah, you can only have 1 in play at a time. Okay, so when it comes to the amount of, again, commanders we're going to be seeing coming up next year, as well as the amount of, well, ones from Universes Beyond just itself and what percentage that's going to be. Previously, let's go back to that one slide real quick. Previously, we saw, the highest percentage of Universes Beyond in a year, commanders, was 2023 at 53%, and that was the year that had Lord of the Rings. Now we've got, I'm not saying 3, exact replicas of Lord of the Rings that they're going to be having the exact same percentages, but yeah, we've got 3 quote-unquote Lord of the Ring-esque sets coming up next year with Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, as well as the unannounced one. So when it comes to that percentage of commanders from next year that are going to be from Universes Beyond, I personally am expecting like 65+%, maybe even more than that. We might get to 70% of the commanders from next year from Universes Beyond. I mean, last year, 31% is where we're at, and that felt like a lot too. A lot of commanders last year from Fallout, Assassin's Creed, etc., etc. So when it comes to, the typical commanders you're going to be seeing played from the new commanders from next year, you might not be surprised when you see a lot from Universes Beyond because of those brand new sets. And again, Wizards wanting to probably, hit a home run with them essentially and make, some really exciting new commanders from those to make sure that the set is popular. And yeah, again, appealing to commander players because commander players are the biggest chunk of the player base currently. So when it comes to the number of commanders next year, we could be, at an absurd number. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to end up being the Lord of the Rings numbers, right? When it comes to the Lord of the Rings numbers, again, we had 85 in the actual set. The precon's 40. Add those together, you get to 125 from Lord of the Rings itself. And if you have 125 in each of the Final Fantasy, Spider-Man, and Universes Beyond that has not been announced yet, I mean, that's 375 commanders, and the record for the number of commanders is 398 from 2023 in total. I'm not saying we're going to get there. I'm not saying these each are going to have that many. I'm just saying that the possibility that we have 70% or even higher of Universes Beyond is decently likely from next year. So we shall see when it comes to that. I mean, again, when it comes to last year with our commanders that we got that were from non-Magic IPs, I mean, you've got sets like Bloomburrow, you've got other sets like, let's scroll down really quick to see if I can get to another one, Bloomburrow, you've got Duskboard, etc., etc., and actually a couple, there was one that was like a crossover that had both, like the Clue set thing, like had some that were Magic inspired and some that were from Clue, like Colonel Mustard and whatnot, essentially. So 220 from last year. So again, a giant chunk last year. I mean, 2/3 essentially was actually from Magic IP versus Universes Beyond. Again, we had Assassin's Creed. We had, I'm just trying to remember the actual set names up here, like Pip. That is Fallout, as well as the Secret Lair drop. And then, the actual Clue commanders too. So we end up with 100 of them there. The previous year, again, was a lot more, balanced when it comes to, like, half and half. Like, we had 184 from sets, again, like Commander Masters, as well as, if we could scroll real quick, The Lost Caverns of Ixalan. My gosh, there are so many sets and so many products that it's just hard to remember. Okay, that came out last year? My goodness, 184, though, compared to 214 from, again, Lord of the Rings. Also, the Doctor Who was then, too. Forgot about that as well. And then in 2022, we saw it was a bit heavier in the Magic favor, but again, things were shifting from there after Mark Rosewater made that announcement. Yeah, we had Streets of New Capenna, 323 commanders from this year, as well as, I guess, the unsets too. I mean, this one's kind of like a weird one because it is like Magic IP, but kind of not as well. But yes, from those, as well as when it comes to the actual ones from Universes Beyond, we ended up with ones from like Warhammer, as well as what was Bot? My goodness, I'm trying to remember all these. Oh yeah. The technically, like, it is Universes Beyond. It's like still owned by Hasbro IP, but yeah, you had the Transformers one as well. There you go. So again, we see a shift over the past couple of years to more and more Universes Beyond. Next year is a massive shift. Again, it was huge news when it was announced that, yeah, next year we have 3 sets, 3 tentpole sets basically, and all of them going into standard as well, all of them Universes Beyond. And now, again, with that statement from Mark Rosewater that we are going to be lessening the number of Magic IP commanders, but increasing the number of Universes Beyond commanders, that, I mean, to me at least says that, I mean, there's definitely no way next year that we have a repeat of this year where we had more commanders from Magic's IPs, because out of these 6 main sets next year, half of them are Universes Beyond. And again, if those ones have more legendary creatures in them, we're going to be getting more commanders, and you're going to be seeing more Universes Beyond commanders at your commander tables moving forward. For better or worse, depending on what your opinion is on that. I personally have expressed my opinion a couple of times. I am not the biggest fan of Universe Beyond. Personally, I especially don't like when they do like the secret lair drops that have mechanically neat cards as well. And if you want, you know, your own Magic IP inspired version of those, the Proxy Promise, I'll try and make sure I put the link to that Dropbox in the description below, so you can just download those yourself if you would like. Print them out freely on your own. I mean, it's not free to print, I guess. It costs you paper and ink or whatnot, or if you're at the library or your Kinko's or whatnot, print those. There you go. That being said, it's just kind of a look to where we're going to be at next year. And I do think it's interesting to kind of just take everything in at the end of the year, see where we ended up, and just examine those numbers and see, well, where things are going to be at moving forward. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.